On today's episode of 2AM Cars, I'm headed over to my friend Pat's house and we're replacing the swaybar Endlinks, steering rack bushings, and figuring out my power steering line. So I know that I've been pretty MIA on this channel recently, so I'm gonna start putting out a lot more. I've got a lot of plans for this car. Most of it for the time being is just maintenance because winter is around the corner and I want to make sure that this car is winter ready. And that includes actually replacing a lot of the rubber bushings in this car because I'm trying to get an alignment, and the other day when I went to a shop to get that alignment, they told me that they wouldn't do it because my steering rack bushings were pretty worn out. I have a valve cover leak, so the oil from the valve cover is leaking onto my steering rack bushings and pretty much wore them out, so they couldn't get an accurate alignment done, so they didn't want to take my money. So I got polyurethane ones from Figs Engineering online. I believe it was $30-something, and it came in 2-day free shipping, which is pretty cool. And I also got new swaybar Endlinks to replace the worn out ones on my swaybar right now. I don't know if you can hear, but when I drive around, it clunks pretty hard. The front end is pretty loose. So I'm gonna drive over to Pat's house. I'm gonna meet you guys there. I'll show you his setup, and then we'll get right to work. This is Patrick.
Oh, hi.
What's up?
Blacklist Builds. Shameless plug. Go watch it.
And this is his B8 S4. It's a 6-speed manual transmission with stage 2 pulley, right?
Stage 2 upper pulley. It also has a upgraded cooler, air suspension. What else do I have on this thing? Test pipes, AWE touring exhaust. I also have a Eurocode intake and some ricey mods like Underglow and Demon Eyes on
it. So we're actually gonna go to Harbor Freight real quick and pick some jack stands. And Pat also needs to get gas.
Yeah.
We're back at Patrick's place. I'm gonna put this thing on jack stands and take off the wheels, that way we can replace the swaybar Endlinks and the steering rack bushings. I'm gonna show you guys how it's done. So now that I have the car up in the air and on stands, it's time to tackle the swaybar Endlinks. It's this piece right here. Here, what you're gonna be able to do is put in a Torx head and then use a box wrench to loosen this bolt so that way the ball joint doesn't move freely. But in my case, what ended up happening was I stripped out both the Torx area as well as nut at the bottom over there. So I basically have to use a hacksaw to cut this out. So after messing around with this dumb Endlink for what felt like a million years, I finally was able to chop it off. And here's the old one, here's the new one. You can actually see that the new one is way more beefy than the old one, way more heavy duty, and it even has little nipples on here to fill up the ball joint with grease, which is what we're gonna do at the end. Just have to like shimmy it in. There we go.
Got it.
Yep.
You want some thread lock or are you ready to get the box?
Right there. Alright, so the swaybar Endlinks have been put back together, and now we're running out of daylight, so we're gonna basically replace the steering rack bushings as fast as possible. I'm not gonna show you guys how to do it, but I will link in the description a nice tutorial. It's pretty self-explanatory, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna time-lapse this through. Okay, so at around this point, it was getting pretty late and pretty cold, so I wasn't able to film a lot of this. The tutorial for the steering rack bushings is linked in the video description. It's by a guy named S. Trumpeteer, and he does a fantastic job showing how to replace them on his SC300. However, it is a little different on the 400. The front subrim cover and the AC lines are 100% in the way, so you'll definitely need to be careful and work around those. Also, make sure to buy replacement bushings that are 2-piece ones. Single piece ones will be pretty much impossible to install without removing the rack. I ended up cutting mine in half with branch shears. Once you install them though, the steering play will be pretty much gone and it will feel much more direct. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you want to see more. Until next time, thanks.